turn this into this wonderful project of creating jobs. Authority. We lost one of ours last week.
I know where that one is attached to. It's probably right here in Toledo.
You can pull that plane farther than anybody's ever pulled an airplane before in history.
Yeah. Well, hey, y'all say.
Much slower. And for your convenience, merchandise stands, they do accept credit cards. Thank you to Miller Brothers Construction, thank you to Waterford Bank N.A., and thank you to MPN. 70 years. Don't forget Flight Line and Style. Folks, premium box seats offer a dedicated numbered seat directly on the flight line. Still available. Look for the ticket sales here to take to the flight line. Club and box seats and purchase flight behind the adjacent to the flight line. Club and box seats and purchase your
When I said, hey, I want to go to the Outer Banks, and then all of a sudden her whole family.
Okay, it's asking for more encouragement from the Look at that, he is on the move. He has found the adrenaline thanks to Toledo, Ohio. Help him out. Cheer him on. Get with it. You can go.
Dozens of Make-A-Wish children spent the afternoon at Toledo Express Airport. They are special guests for the Toledo Air Show.
I like listening to the planes and watching them do cool stunts.
11-year-old Connor Bell lost his leg to cancer, but he's been cancer-free for 6 years now. He and his dad are here taking in all the sights and sounds.
Children diagnosed with life-threatening medical conditions and can overcome those conditions to be whatever they want to be is just a thrill to see how kids can grow up and become just about anything they want to be.
Even a pilot. Just ask Richard Martin.
I was actually a Make-A-Wish recipient here from the Toledo chapter when I was a teenager, and I was able to get my pilot's license through the Make-A-Wish chapter here.
This Tiffin native is a F-15E fighter pilot who overcame cancer.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation really did a lot for me and made me realize what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And so I spent a long time getting to where I am today because of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Martin is living his dream and living proof that these kids can live theirs.
Whatever they may be going through, it's tough. Their life, it might be hard for them right now, but they should never let it hold them back. They can do whatever they want as long as they set their mind to it.
Okay. So what was the genesis of this, of your pool project?
Well, we've been talking about doing good and how church communities and faith communities can really help do positive things in our community. And I became aware that the city pools weren't going to open because there just wasn't money in there for the budget. And Jesus said, if you give a cup of cold water in my name, then you receive a blessing. And I started thinking, well, I can take that a little further, more than a cup of cold water. What if we just give the kids a pool and open it up? I began to realize that when children don't have pools to go to in the summer, their options become reduced. When your options are reduced, then you get into more trouble. So I thought it would be good for the families.
And how have you raised the money?
Yeah, well, I just came to the church, and they've always been generous and kind. And I just told them, I said, this is something I think that we could do. Anybody that wants to give to it can give to it. And that's what they did.
And congregants gave what?
Well, they gave enough to open up the Navarre pool and also the Savage Park splash pads.
And how much was that?
That would have been $52,000 for Navarre and $10,000 for the splash pads.
And they did it $5s and $10s?
Yeah, I mean, some people had a little bit more, and they said, "Oh, I want to put $1,000 towards it." But most people gave, I would say, $50 or less, and we did it over a course of a month.
Did you coordinate this with the city before you did it?
Yes, I spoke to them to find out what the amounts were.
Okay, so they knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And part of the process, part of the problem has been in funding pools, the city just doesn't have the money.
Right.
But when private sector, churches,
Yep.
get involved, all of a sudden this can happen now.
Yeah.
So how important is it for you to be part of the private sector solving this problem?
I think it's important because we want to be a part of answers. We love our city. We want to do something good. And I think that it's good for families. And I think when God puts you in a position to do something good, that you should do it.
How did you decide on Navarre and the splash pad?
Because it's close to our Eastwood campus. We have the old Eastwood Theater that we bought and renovated, and we have a church campus in that facility, and Navarre is close to that.
Have you ever done this before?
No.
So you just felt there was a need this year?
Yeah, I thought we're in a position where we could do something, and we support a lot of community projects over the years, but most of them have been parochial or specifically kind of family needs oriented, crisis pregnancy center, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. And this was a little bit more out of the box and a little bit more not so parochial, but I felt like it would serve a good purpose for our community.
What does your church get out of this? Is there signage about your sponsorship?
I think that they're going to put some kind of signage there, and I think that we're going to do some feeding programs that we have done from the Eastwood facility. All last year, we fed children with Lucas County Feeding the Children program, and we fed children all week long. And this year, I think we're going to do it sometimes from the location there at the pool.
It's funny you mentioned that because I think last week the spokesperson for the mayor said that they're going to try and create these pools as community centers where they can go to eat.
Yep.
Which will also encourage attendance as well. And
Absolutely.
An area to congregate. So that's really part of this process for you too.
Yeah, and we want to do some family-friendly programs there, some things to keep kids off the street, some things to build up the families, some things to provide for some of the needs and some of the educational parenting needs and all of those kind of things.
And what will your $52,000 plus be used for?
Well, the city can give you the exact breakdown. I've had it. I don't have it in front of me, but it has to do with opening the pool, staffing the pool, and the running of it.
Yeah, the maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add about your project?
No, it's just we've been here for 30 years, and over those years, we really believe that. I believe that churches and people of faith are the answer to a lot of the needs in the community, and if we all lean in and do the good stuff, then good things happen.
And when government can't do it, it's incumbent upon the private sector.
Yeah, I mean, we can't fix the potholes. We can't fix all the roads and bridges, but churches throughout our community feed a lot of people, counsel a lot of people, keep a lot of families together, help get people off of drugs, help hold families together. I think the church does more with less than any other organization in the world. And so I think that when we have the goodwill of our community and the church is in goodwill with the community, that we can get a lot done.
Terrific. I'm going to take 2 shots here. Let me give you my card for when your
Yeah,
event
I will
up.
definitely do it. We have like about 100 Cornerstone churches throughout Mexico, all throughout Mexico. and then we have a handful of them in South Africa, and then there are places like in Cape Town, Durban, Pretoria, all of those areas I've been preaching at for like 20 years.
So this is missionary work?
Yeah.
Conversion?
Yeah. First time people's hearing the gospel,
Right.
but more like church building. We have churches there, and Cape Town, is a thriving city. A lot of work there in Cape Town. So if I go to Cape Town, I probably preach to 5,000 or 6,000 people a night. And when I was in Pretoria,
Other churches, the 100 other churches?
yeah, they are under my authority in the sense of, if you look at the, let's say, a Roman Catholic kind of a thing, I'm the bishop of the.
Grow to be this?
No.
What
No.
was your goal for it?
I actually have the original vision, as we call it, or the plan, on a piece of paper that I wrote. I was 18 years old, and I felt like God called me, to plant a church, and I just wrote it out where they could be happy and healthy and holy, and serve God and all of those. And it's just like a page, and so that's what I wanted to do. I didn't have any idea, that it would turn into all that it's turned into, or that it would stretch me like it stretched me. And I would say I've thought about it. But I think that God gives you a place, and I think the bigger challenge for me became, can we reach the world?
Are you, do you broadcast over the internet? Or anything like that?
Yeah, we live stream.
Yeah, live
Yep.
stream. Any sense how many people you...
We have a theater, like an art center.
Pools, it's perennially a problem to fund pools. What's the best way, in your opinion, to still have pools open?
Well, funding a pool is very expensive, and the return on the investment really, I like to look at things quantitatively, and so it ends up being, for the number of people using the pools, a very high amount of money that we expend for the pools. I think the answer has got to be a combination of private-public partnerships. And while that may sound like a cliche, if we can get the community or the private sector to be more vested with what we're doing, we can do some things, and then they can do some things as well. But it always boils down to money.
So when you hear a Cornerstone Church steps up, your thoughts on that?
My initial thought was, thank goodness, phenomenal approach. I've been preaching this for a long time, and I hope it triggers others to be involved. As it relates to Cornerstone, they have a vested interest in what their community is like, the growth and development of community. Well, that's what the qualitative component of the pools are. While it may be over $100 per person using the pool, you'll never know what memories are placed in a kid who spent a summer at the pool. So when Cornerstone stepped up, I thought, you're really engaging in how the community can feel with your input. And I think that's a dollar amount you can't put on a service like this.
It is expensive, though, to operate, and attendance has been declining.
Yeah, and we've looked at this, particularly when you divide the number of people attending by what we expend on that. You're better off to buy them all family memberships at Kalahari and providing the transportation. I mean, that's really how much it ends up being. So while that's not going to fly, the community has to step up, or there has to be another analysis of just what we do with recreation. For example, diving pools, swimming pools are more costly to maintain than a splash pad. So we have one splash pad, but the attendance at that is dwindling. So the paradigm, Bill, has to be shifted as to how we analyze recreation, and maybe it's not pools, but what could we do? And I can go on and on. I mean, I personally would rather see entities that are already out there involved in recreation, Boys and Girls Club, the Y, and let them plan things. The Ys have pools, but let the city work in facilitating some other components of that, the transportation, for example.
Well, one of the things the pastors told us they're going to try to do is create a little feeding center out of their pool. I don't know if it's going to be once a week or however, but have it be a destination beyond just recreation.
Yeah, I think so. I'm always a little hesitant on that, and if it deals with public dollars, because then we become the recreate for the kids, we become the restaurant for the kids. All of that's important, and we want a strong community, but the community has to understand that with limited dollars, we've got to rely on the benefactors in the private sector to help us with the community.
Okay, anything else you want to add about pools this year?
I would just say this, Bill, and this may be a separate story down the road, but Dr. Adams has been doing a pretty good job of saying what are our goals, and her being new, I said, here's this pros consulting report. We need to implement this pros consulting report that was done 2-3 years ago. And one of the things that I think is a heavy component of that would be to partner possibly with the zoo in setting up some kind of water recreation.
Yeah, well, let me get back to you on that, because she and I were just speaking. And she wants to create an aquatic center and all that. And she's talking with the library and the zoo to become partners. So maybe when I do that story, I'll talk to you. And what's it called? A pros?
Yeah, pros consulting. In fact,
Two shot.
Was the report to see what we should do with our recreation, or was the report to see the viability of taxing people more, which I didn't like.
Right.
So, so I got some notes in there, but I thought they did a pretty good job, and I'm happy to. I'm just kidding. What does that mean? Like this $250,000 splash. So anyway, just like that.
How important is it that you open the pools? I know that's a priority. I know it's a priority for you.
Why do you insult me by starting off the question like that? That's an insult. I'm insulted. I am offended by that question.
How did I phrase it that would be insulting?
So, in some parts of the country.
How important is it to me that the pools be open?
Yeah, it's important. It's obviously important to you.
But how important? Like I can quantify the importance of this?
Well, I could answer that in another way.
Okay. Okay.
It's important. I thought I started it this way. It's important to you. Explain why it's important to you.
I really got you, didn't I? Okay, we're ready. It is part of what makes a city livable that we have recreational opportunities, not only for children and youth, but also for adults. And one of the cornerstones of our park system is that we have pools. And it just seems important that we do what we can, and with the partnership of other organizations, we're going to be able to open the pools.
That's really the point of all this.
Yeah, I'm just messing with
You
it.
need the partnerships, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, we do. We have to have that partnership, and it's not just with with opening pools, but it's just with partnerships across the board, and what we're doing as a city to govern. And so, we've been very fortunate that there have been many organizations in the past, and we're working to get new ones this year to help us make sure that the pools are open.
I know Cornerstone has stepped up. Who else are you working with?
I can't really answer that because the team is working on that, and until it's finalized, I don't want to, like tip my hand or tip our hand.
But in good faith, though, you're going to open these 7
Yes.
pools?
No, well, there's 6
pools
and the splash pad. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And how much will it cost to do this?
We're estimating at about $350,000, $360,000 for the entire, for everything, personnel, chemicals, water, those kinds of things.
And how much of that will come from taxpayers and how much from donations? And so
we're aiming for all of it to be contributed from donations.
Is that really the way we're going to have to do this in the future then?
This is the same question that we're working on to not have to answer in the future, because it isn't, but it is something that I believe is integral to what a city is to do. As I say all along, that recreation is more than just play. It is an opportunity for people to recharge, and also it's an opportunity for young people. The exciting thing that we're doing with using the pools as anchors is also to have our summer programming for youth, using them in partnership with Feed Lucas County and children, because we need to have those facilities open and available for kids to use.
It sounds like almost a change in usage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's really going back to what it used to be. Now, I talked about how you can't expect things the way they once were, but there are some fundamental things that I think helps us become true citizens, grow up healthy, wealthy, and smart, and all those other things. And one of the things is that during the summer you have people engaged with young people, with kids, and that you provide structured, organized activities, whether it's sports, recreation, education, and we're just going to partner with those organizations that are doing those kinds of things.
And we had lost that in the previous years. We hadn't done that for a while, have we?
I think this is a new thing that we're looking at, and this is something that comes from a real integrated approach to how, if you have, each of us have different skills and different talents and gifts, and that's what we're going to all bring together. Again, community, and working together as a community, we'll each of us pull our resources together.
Okay, if you don't get the 350 though, before
we're going to get, my goal is not to be defeated. If we don't get it by start date, we're going to have it before the season is over. I mean, the goal is to have it's best to have it all up front, but if not, we're not stopping if we don't have it. We're just going to continue to beat the bushes. And one of the things that, I learned the first time we did it was that they're individuals, that if we just ask them to contribute, they will. I mean, so many of folks remember how it was when they were growing up using the pools, and how they want other children to have that opportunity. So if the takeaway from this story from my perspective is that while we're looking at large donations, small donations will also be accepted and welcomed.
When does the season end?
August.
The
first week. 6 weeks from June, whatever.
First
Sunday in August.
First Sunday in August?
Yeah, first Sunday in August.
Yeah, because we talked to Pastor Fitz about his plan. He wants to do the feeding at the pool as well.
Right, and this is something that when I talked with Bishop Pitts about, was my vision was that it should be a place where a child could come and have, you know, all the statistics talk about the loss of educational attainment because of the summer. They're not reading, they're doing those things. Connecting with, you know, public libraries, connecting with activities that are already happening in public schools. You know, we have so many parks that are conjoined with TPS schools. Why are we not working together to do that? That was a question that I asked as a council member, and now as mayor, we're taking those incremental steps to make this work as a partnership with programs. Yeah.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You know, it's just.
This site has been marketed nationally and even around the globe, but in the end, it was a local company that decided to step up in a big way.
We're a global leader in supplying advanced technology. I can tell you that we will be doing something with the Jeep product, and we'll be doing something with another major global OEM.
This is another step to show that the city is coming back, manufacturing is coming back.
These are more than living wage jobs, and it's on a site where our history as an auto manufacturer came alive. I think you couldn't get a better site for the history of it.
All we can do is build from here and hopefully fill that entire site full of new jobs for Northwest Ohio.
Actually, there might be some other good news on this site. A second company is in negotiations to move here. An announcement could be made by the end of the month. But as for today, this is all about the Dana Corporation and $70 million in investment and 300 new jobs. In Toledo, Bill Horman, 13 ABC, Action News.
One example is Jeep, like the one heavy-duty vehicles. This includes buses. Making at the hands of those closest to the customers. $1 million. Completing a $15 million expansion like this takes the effort and cooperation of our technologies.
Personnel may work leisure. At a time like we're passengers traveling that need special assistance. For American Connection, flight 5012 with service to Chicago, gate number 3. Whoever needs special assistance, you now board through gate number 3.